Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here. Once again, I'm on the beach, and as I'm on the beach, I'm going to again share another very interesting topic with everybody today. That topic is going to be all about the path of realization and its effects. And so I have been on the path of realization since 2018. It was back in June of 2018 when I first went through my Kundalini awakening. That was a partial Kundalini awakening. It was going from the root chakra all the way up into the brow, or what we call from Muladhara to Anya chakra. And that was part of a partial awakening. And I felt kind of mild effects relating to realization at that time. When I'm talking about realization, it's about just being able to feel the truth, being able to sense the truth, being able to know the truth. I'm not talking about events here on the planet. I'm not talking about mind matters. I'm not talking about thoughts or anything like that, anything in regards to eventful situations. I'm talking about the idea of the full-blown truth, of the full-blown awakening. And on Easter Sunday last month, this is where I had my full-out Kundalini awakening, where the Kundalini went all the way up into Sahasrara, up into the crown chakra, or not a chakra, but just the crown. Sahasrara is just a gateway. But basically, since that time, I could feel that the last remnant of that full realization has really been kicking in. And through this video, I want to share some effects that have come together relating to this particular full state of realization. So one of the effects that comes through is the feeling of dispassion. Okay, now this is almost kind of like a forbidden word in the West. Of course, as I talk to fellow yogis in the East, and as I get to understand more of what they teach, this is not such a forbidden word. It's all about dispassion in the way of the yogi, particularly when they share a lot of this teaching in the East about dispassion. But in the West, no, that's a bad word, is to say anything about being dispassionate. So because we look at New Age circles, we look at spiritual circles, we look at all these different groups, about quote-unquote create your reality, and quote-unquote follow your passion, follow your excitement. It's so very important to do that. Well, okay, if you want to follow your passion and if you want to follow your excitement, go ahead. I mean, I did that for a number of years and it was good while it lasted. But that is a transient thing. That is relative. That is impermanent. And that really doesn't matter. Okay? But I always tell people, I say, well, just go out and achieve your goals, right? This is exactly what the level 2 healing of conflict elimination technique is all about. It's about being able to go out and achieve your goals. And anything that gets in the way of your goals, you nullify, which you guys have learned through the new healing technique, prana transmission technique, where you're learning how to nullify thoughts, where you're learning how to nullify those patterns that are getting in the way, and just being able to nullify all problems, and then being able to add the icing on the cake with transmission. But the whole idea, again, is that in the West, we have not really grasped this effect that comes from realization. And there may be those who are watching this right now who are realized, who know exactly what I'm talking about, is that you basically just have a dispassion for any form of ambition. There's no ambition, there's no excitement. And that's not to say that you're bored when you're feeling the full effects of realization. You're actually just much more in bliss. In fact, you want to serve people, you want to be more compassionate, you want to be much more helpful and encouraging more than you ever have before when you start walking the full path of realization here, right? For self-realization, this is the idea. So, again, we get into that indoctrination in the West, particularly surrounding passion, right? I want to be passionate about something, and I get a lot of people who I've done sessions with in the past. I want to be passionate about something, Brad. I really want to be passionate about something. And okay, I'll help you find your passion if that's what you want, right? Because I basically say don't try to force yourself out of passion, right? Let your passion express itself as it needs to. Let your excitement express itself as it needs to. Again, a lot of yogis would probably disagree with me on that, but I'm for the idea of saying, well, it's not going to last anyways, right? If they start working together with their passion, right, they find their goal, they sit with it for a little while, it makes them happy a little bit, maybe, and then over time it starts to fade away, right? But they have to go through that. They have to go through that to realize that passion is not the way to life. It's not about passion. It's not about excitement. It's not about ambition. But if you have it, go ahead and take advantage of it, right? Enjoy yourself with whatever you want to do. If you want to start a new business, if you want to play games, if you want to hang out with people, you want a relationship, whatever it may be, go for it. Like, I'm no longer with my fiance anymore, guys. Like, we parted ways just a little over a few days ago. And it was just time for that to happen. It was time for me and my fiance to part ways. But we had a really good term in regards to parting. I felt she understood. And so I still love her a lot. And I just will always still be with her. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk from time to time. But I just knew it was time to let that go. Because, again, there was just nothing there in regards to me wanting to have a relationship still. It was just something that I knew I had to let go of. And the strange thing, like I said, that happened just shortly after I was having my full realization awakening. Okay? And so this is what happens. It becomes an effect. It is an effect relating to being naturally dispassionate about certain things. So when I'm saying that you are dispassionate, what I'm saying is that you're much more in the heart of bliss, right? You do not need to be passionate to be in bliss, right? It's quite the opposite. To be in bliss is just to be content, to be peaceful, to be happy internally all the time, right? That's what I am. There is nothing. Like I would in the old days, I would just go out and run a few errands and then come home and try to check in with myself and say, how am I feeling? Is there anything bad that I'm feeling about? Is there any conflicting nature that's happening in me? Is there any troubles, any problems that's happening through me? And then I would discover some things and I would clear them out. But ever since I've had my full-out awakening on Easter Sunday, none of that has happened, right? There's really been nothing that has been a problem for me. I don't really feel that anymore. I just feel happy all the time. I just feel blissful. I'm kind of like the quiet, peaceful, content kind of guy. And that is really what I'm feeling. And that's the nature of full realization. Your full realization puts you in bliss and you stay there. Right, you're still working with your energy. You're still working with the kundalini within you. You're still purifying it. You're still harmonizing yourself. That's still going on, right? You're still having challenges in life, but it's not to the point where you have problems. You have challenges, but you don't have problems. So you become dispassionate. You don't really have the ambitious bug anymore. You don't have the excitement bug anymore. You don't really feel like you have to go out and you have to do something. You have to have something to prove. You don't have to prove anything to yourself, and you don't have to prove anything to others. All of that fades away. That's the beautiful thing about realization when it's fully awakened within you. And so one of the effects, of course, is dispassion, right? So you're basically just in bliss. When you're really not passionate, what takes your place is bliss. And that dispassion is not boredom. Okay, it's not the feeling of being bored. It's not the feeling of, in that sense, going through loneliness. No, you have to, first of all, you have to clear away boredom, and you have to clear away loneliness just to even try to get to realization, okay? Loneliness is not a natural thing, okay? It's unnatural. That's something that emerges through problems and regrets, okay? The idea of boredom itself is something that is unnatural. That comes together through problems and regrets. So we have to remember to clear that out. That's not a part of realization. Realization really is when you have really done a good job cleaning yourself out, right? You've really cleaned yourself up and you're moving into such greater heights. Bliss becomes your life. And through that bliss becomes the effect of dispassion. It's not something you choose. You don't choose to be dispassionate, right? We are naturally passionate before we reach realization. So when realization comes, that effect of dispassion is the result of what takes place. So that's the first thing pertaining to dispassion. What's the second thing that you notice when you go through the full effects of self-realization? Well, the second thing is compassion. So it's like I talked about, when you move into full realization, you are being so much more compassionate. In fact, love becomes your entire life. Compassion becomes your whole life. You want to do so much for others. It really just becomes such a powerful drive. I'm going to say drive, but a powerful impulse. That's the better word, because it's not passionate. You're not passionate about compassion, but you want to offer it. You want to be more of service in that way. So you just naturally gravitate, you naturally align, because you are bliss. Bliss wants to serve. Bliss wants to give to all, because you see yourself as the all. So compassion becomes much more of the nature of yourself, and that's the best term I can use for it. You're a lot more compassionate. It is your nature to be much more compassionate. It is your nature to be dispassionate. So you're working with compassion while also reeling from the effects of dispassion at the same time. So you're not passionate about compassion. You're actually dispassionate about everything else that represents the body and the mind. But you have that pure compassion, and you want to serve people, you want to help people. It's like how I'm making a lot more videos this week, right? There's that drive for more and more compassion. There's that joy. Again, not a drive. There's that nature. I gotta get that drive word out of my mind. There's that nature for being more compassionate. You want to just basically do it. It's not an ambition, it's not an excitement, it's just, this is what I'm here to do. I see everybody else as myself. I see everybody as souls. I don't see a man and a woman anymore. And that's how you know you're very deeply compassionate. You look at a person and you don't see a person, you see a soul. You don't see a man, you don't see a woman, you don't see a child, you don't see an animal, you don't see a plant, you don't see a tree, you don't see the elements, you see souls. That's the nature of being very compassionate as you become much more fully realized. So we have altogether, we have dispassion, we have compassion. What's the third thing? Well, the third thing would be that of self-responsibility, right? Responsibility. Now, this is a very, very important thing, is that really when you look at yourself, when you look at everything that we are here to do in this world, you are only ever responsible for yourself, because you're the only one who's changeable in your life. Nothing and nobody is changeable through you, right? The idea is that everyone just has to learn to take care of themselves. So you are the only one that is ever responsible for yourself. You are the only one within your reality that is changeable. So this is where responsibility is such a naturalness for one who is self-realized. They realize through responsibility, through themselves, that this is what shapes reality altogether. That everything pertaining to what we need to accomplish, what we need to change, how we basically mold ourselves, impacts everything pertaining to reality. So therefore, you give up the idea of thinking that you have to change everybody. You give up the idea of thinking that you have to be responsible for everyone. Because again, I've talked about this many times also, particularly in sessions. People want to change other people. Brad, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my best friend, my husband, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, etc., are saying this and are doing this, and what can I do to change their mind? Absolutely nothing. Right? You are not here to change anybody. There's no one here for you to change other than yourself. So therefore, as you move into that state of full realization, you realize that I'm the only one here that is bendable, that is changeable, that is malleable. And I have to be responsible for that. I have to be responsible for change. I have to be responsible for how I shift myself, because then I'm going to see reality shift altogether. The mind is going to shift. It's a Rubik's Cube. It just keeps shifting because I realize how bendable, how malleable, and how changeable and open I am. So when we notice that, we want to be responsible because we see how reality continuously shifts when we know our own responsibility. So this is helping to eliminate a lot of problems as well too. As I've talked about, when you go into full realization, you notice that your problems become a lot more less. You may still have a little bit of them here and there, but they're becoming a lot more less. And I'm talking about people who are actually fully realized, right? There are people who think they are realized, but they are not. There are people in that sense who even have full-out Kundalini awakenings, and they think that they instantly get realized, but they're not, right? They still have a lot more to get through. They still haven't done a lot of their internal house cleaning as they need to do. When you know that you are fully realized, you've cleaned yourself up thoroughly, right? You have no ambitions, you have no passions, right? You're not trying to change people. You're not trying to be responsible for others. You're not trying to put such a demand either on yourself or on others either. You are, again, floating in bliss, right? Your power is bliss. Your power is compassion. Your power is dispassion. And of course, your power is also responsibility. So like you guys learn in prana transmission technique, you will learn that, again, all problems are just attached by thoughts, right? It's our own emotions, it's our own mentalities that are programmed with certain ways of thinking, with our thoughts. So when those thoughts start to become clear, because we are no longer attaching ourselves to them, they now become nullified and they clear away. Now we work with the prana transmission and we start to really refine ourselves. Okay, so it's the same thing. We are the most difficult thing about this path. Okay, when you're looking at the idea of the inner self, when you're working with the inner path, when you're walking the path of realization, the only difficulty you have is yourself. You're the difficulty setting. Okay, so it's like playing a video game. You have easy, you have medium, you have hard, you have extremely hard, you have almost next to impossible, you have impossible. Okay, these are your levels. Here's the gate. Here's the ego gate that is guarding bliss, that is guarding the divine, and it's as close to you as your ability to breathe is. Okay, and you're the only one that's keeping this door shut. You're the only one who has padlocked, chained this gate completely shut, because you have made it impossible for you to open that gate. You think God is the one responsible for putting that gate there? It's you. You have put that gate there. You have padlocked it. You have chained it shut. You have boarded it up. Whatever else you've done to it. You've welded it shut. Okay? But as soon as you start to realize that you're changeable, now all those things can start to fall off the gate, and all you have to do is just push open the handle, and the gate opens. Right? So you are the one who is realizing, I'm the one that's made this so tough. I'm the one that may be stubborn. I'm the one who may be ignorant. I may be the one who's ignorant here, because you certainly are. I was ignorant once upon a time too. So we get into that state of ignorance. And that is what keeps the door shut, right? People want to say, I want to be happy, Brad. I just want to be happy. I could ask a million people, and I would pretty much get the same answer about, what do you guys want out of life, Brad? I just want to be happy. I just want to be able to do what I want. I just want to be at peace. I just want that pure happiness. That's all I want. Guys, I'm showing you how to get that. Because it's not what you think it is. Okay? You think that you have to go out and you have to prove yourselves. And you have to go out and you have to try and make a name for yourself. And you got to try and prove others wrong. And I'm the one that has to do this. And I'm the one that has to, make a killing. And I'm the one that has to basically break his or her back to try and illustrate a point here. That's not realization. That's not happiness. That's not peace. That's not bliss. That is you following an ignorant path. Right? We have been taught by the illusions of this world and the concepts of this world, thinking that you have to completely just break yourself down so much through the outer world to think that you're going to get peace. It doesn't work that way, guys. Okay? I can tell you from a person who has reached full realization, because I used to work that way prior to my spiritual awakening altogether, just trying to break my back and make a living and try to make ends meet and try to pay the bills and try to pay the rent and all this stuff. And that goes nowhere. That's the material world. That's the game that you're playing, right? You're not going to win this game by being a player, okay? You're going to win this game realizing that you are the administrator of this game, okay? It goes to admin level. It doesn't go to player level. Player levels will continue to get screwed around by the system because they have no form of authority pertaining to that game. But you have the ability to be the administrator. You have the ability to go into God mode, right? And now you got all the commands available to you because you have now realized what it really takes. It's about going within. When I go inside, this is where all the code is. This is where all the inner makeup of that game exists. It's in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of all of those codes, of all these things that I know I can implement to be the administrator and to go into God mode. And now here I am in God mode of this game. And I realized that it was all an inside job. It's always been an inward job. Has not been outside. Whatever you guys decide to do with your life is entirely up to you. That's all part of you taking responsibility for yourself and realizing that you are sovereign. Realizing that you are indeed the God mode administrator. But it's not about trying to break your back. To think that going outside and doing all these outside things and interfacing with the body and the mind is going to set you free. It's not. None of it will ever set you free. As long as you see yourself as a body, as long as you see yourself as a mind, you will get nowhere. Right? You are a player playing the game. You're at player level. Okay? And so again, you're constantly just fumbling over your own feet. The player's losing points because they don't realize that they're actually the administrator and that they can actually go into God mode. That's what you want to do. Sorry guys, I do love games. What can I say? I'm using the gamer's language here, but it's true. It's how it works, right? So the most important thing is to work within yourself, is to go into that realization. This is why I'll be doing Kundalini Awakening sessions. This is why I'm going to be phasing out clients, and I'm going to start bringing in students so I can work with you guys a lot more. It's not just the idea of talking to me one time as a client and then maybe never talking to me again. No. As a student, you're going to have access to me, okay? And you're going to be able to talk to me about things. I'm going to help you through the entire process, step by step, reminding you, being your personal reminder. And I'm going to be doing this for free, okay? Because I want to see a lot of you guys move this path, because I can see in a lot of you, you guys want to go all the way. And you're still a little bit nervous. What do I do? How do I do this? How can I take care of this? Maybe you're feeling a bit stuck. And this is why I want to make myself available to students. So that's some exciting things to come. And again, I wanted to share with you guys, for those of you who want to move into full realization, what you guys can expect. Okay? So you can expect the idea of dispassion happening. You can expect the idea of compassion accelerating tremendously within yourself. You can expect the idea of being responsible, right? Accelerating as well too. You are seeing the bigger picture of life. You're no longer interested in the small picture. The small picture is the body and mind principle. That's what you're phasing out. So you're going to have that effect of dispassion. You're just going to want to be in bliss. You're going to want to be compassionate. You're going to want to help people. You want to do so much for them. And money doesn't really matter too much for you, right? It helps, it supports you. It gets you by in that way. And you may still want to use it, and that's fine. I still do. But it's not the driving force in your life. It's not that ambition. And of course, you will be responsible. You will realize that as I shift, the Rubik's Cube of reality will shift together with me. These are the common effects of going into full realization. So thank you everybody for joining me for this video, and I will speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Namaskar. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can check out the websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can order a private session, 3 questions by email, EQ method, and a lot more. And you can also check out healingcodecards.com, where you can grab your mind deck, your body deck, and of course the brand new Body Deck Special Edition. All of these are available in digital editions as well. And you can also get a shirt just like this through healingcodeshop.com, where you can experience the healing codes in apparel form. So feel free to check out these websites. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well.